He didn't even see me. He's so depressed.
Just like my chicken.
So this is the Nikon Coolscan 8000 ED. It comes with a few different sets of holders here. It's your 35 holder, a 120 holder here that doesn't have any glass in it. You can optionally get one here that has an anti-Newton ring glass that just flips up, and then you can have this is glass here, and you can sandwich your film in there if it's really curly. It works well for 120 as well as 35. You just kind of set it in there. The film that we shot was Ilford FP4, so it doesn't curl very much when it dries, so it should be okay. So one thing that I've done, I'm scanning with Coolscan because the Nikon is an old scanner and it doesn't work with Nikon Scan on the newer Macs. So you have to use Coolscan or Silverfast in order to scan. And if you want to use Nikon Scan, you can install the Windows on your Mac, or just go with Windows and run Nikon Scan on that. We'll just use it with this and with Coolscan. You have your frame numbers that you can look at in Coolscan. So I've gone through and actually numbered all of my frame numbers, so I know, if I want to skip frames or just scan 4, I know exactly which frame 4 is rather than having to guess. So we'll load up the film and then we can start scanning. So here's our film that we shot and developed. This pops open. And this opens up. You can load your film just like this. There are these little like mullion type lines, or to set your frames or whatever. So you have to line those up so that everything lines up with that. So do that close. Then your film should be sandwiched in there. You can give it a blow. And you can turn on the scanner. I always turn mine off. I just feel like if it's on all the time, then things might wear out or something, or burn out or whatever. So these are discontinued and they don't service them anymore. So the most life I can get out of it, the better. So once this light is finished flashing, then you can load the film. This light is not blinking anymore, so we can load this in. So the way you load it is just like this, and you have to be very gentle here, and it'll feed it in by itself. Okay, so we've got our settings loaded up here. I've got a specific set of settings that I use based off of Chris Crawford photo post link that I've kind of modified a little bit, but I'll post that in the description below where I started from. This is a little bit different. You're going to scan flat, and then you're going to go into Lightroom. In my case, I'll go into Lightroom, and then I'll process the images after I add contrast and gamma and go through and color correct and stuff like that. We'll go to frame number 1. The preview resolution is 667 dpi, and our scan resolution is 4000 because this is a true 4000 dpi scanner. Set my output. So we'll just go through and preview our first frame. So from here, you got your marching ants of where you want to scan. Just as normal with Coolscan, you have a focus point. So usually I just pick like the middle or wherever I want to have in focus, and then you can go ahead and hit scan, and it'll scan the image. So I'm just going to eject the film, find a frame that I liked, and that would be actually worth scanning. So usually I just do one of these. I think I'll go with frame 10. Frame 10 looks good. So we'll go scan frame 10, and then we can process that one all the way through. Okay, so here's our frame. We're gonna go and we'll do a 4000 DPI scan on this, and also make sure you have fine mode selected, because you will get some weird artifacts happening. It's just the way that it is with these scanners. You have to have fine mode turned on, which increases time a lot, but it makes it so that you don't get these weird artifacts. They'll happen no matter what if you don't have it selected. So we'll do the scan now. Alright, so that's how long it takes to scan one frame at 4000 DPI. This is in for 35. So we'll jump back in to a full screen. So this is what we'll end up with when we get out of ViewScan. It's a very flat scan. So we'll import this into Lightroom, which I have here. Kind of have the raw scan. You got a little bit of hair here. And you've got to crop out these edges and stuff like that because it's not quite perfect. We'll just go through and we'll add, this is the kind of how I do it. We'll just go and add a little bit of darks, a little bit of light, pull back those highlights a little bit for this area here. And then I like to bump up the shadows just a little bit because when you add a lot of darkening, it sometimes takes away a little bit of the shadow detail. A little, I like a little bit more of a flatter type look. Just to kind of really show off the dynamic range that the film has. And to go through here, just pull back the highlights a little bit. This seems pretty good just as a quick, rough and dirty grade that we can go and into Photoshop and start doing some dodging and burning and stuff like that. And another thing to note too, like when you get in at 100%, the sharpness is there. This was shot at 2.8 to expose for this area of the image, and it looks good. This is at 4000 DPI. You can also notice as well that the Nikon Scan 8000 has a lot of noise in it scans, so it's something you have to get used to. You won't be getting perfectly smooth scans like you would on a flatbed scanner. The light source within the scanner is kind of older and it does create a little bit of noise. So this is kind of a trade-off that you get. But with a perfectly exposed image, you get a pretty good look out of it. And then if you're posting the web, you won't notice any of the noise at all, as well as if you're printing, you may not notice that much of it either. Let's jump into Photoshop. Usually you jump in here, Photoshop CS, edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments. So I'll pull this in here. First things first is I'll just quickly crop this like this here, crop that out. And then I'll just go, I won't deal with this dust right now, but usually what I'll just do for something like this, where it's like, very overexposed here, is I'll just go through here and just make an adjustment layer. And this is just going to be really, really quick and dirty and simple. We'll just pull this back to kind of, add a little bit more depth within this foreground stuff, and then just pull back the whites a little bit just to kind of make it not so prominent within the frame. And just take the gradient tool here and just pull that up. And that way it'll kind of bring back the a little bit more depth into it and kind of create a little bit more of that contrast. And you can zoom back out here, and if you wanted to do another last final grade or whatever, if you wanted to do a little bit of this here and then go through once more and do something like this here, invert this map here, and usually I'll just paint in a little bit of face or something like that, just to kind of as if you were to be dodging and burning when you're actually printing. And usually I like to go a little bit crazy at first and then dial it back afterwards, just so that it looks a little bit more natural. So it doesn't look quite as unnatural within the frame. This is just something that I would quickly do, just a quick and dirty edit, go through a little bit, finalize it. You can get this, you can get the dust out of it and stuff like that as well if there's any dust. And I hope that you've learned a little bit more about the the Nikon Coolscan. It's a great scanner. It just needs a little bit of extra work in order to get the most out of it.